It has been over a year since the MG Comet EV was launched in India, and we have had this particular model for about 3 months, and I can give you a good long-term experience review of this car and how it is to live with the MG Comet EV if you decide to buy one. Now, we've divided this video into 5 parts. We'll go over the design, the interiors, the comfort. We'll go over how the battery charging is, what the range is like, how much you would spend on charging, and we'll also go over the performance of the car while I was using it, the ease of driving, comfort, convenience, and also I'll tell you about battery as a service. And we'll round up everything, and this will all be based on my experience of using the car for the last 3 months. Now, to give you context, this one is the older version. This is not the fast charging version. There is the new version that is being sold now, comes with fast charging capability. This is not that one, and so do consider that when you're watching this review. So let's get started. Now, talking about the design, you're already very much aware of what the car looks like. You must have seen a lot of cars on the road already, and in my opinion, I like the design a lot. It's a cute looking car, and if the young people or the ladies in your family want to use this, it does have a very nice cute feeling to it. And besides the design, look at the footprint of the car. It is a very small car. It takes up parking space which will be equivalent to 2 motorcycles, and it does fit into smaller parking spaces very easily. And if you look at the length also, it's not very long, so maneuvering the car while parking it in the parking is very easy, especially because of the sheer size it has. Now, don't be mistaken that since the car is small, 4 people can't sit in it. 4 people do sit inside the MG Comet EV very comfortably, and I have done long distance journeys with this car with 4 people on board very comfortably. Now, the car gets LED headlamps as standard, and the throw of the light is pretty good. You have good visibility during the night. You have a nice DRL strip running along which lights up during the day as well. And for your convenience, the charging port is right here, very easy to access. At the rear as well, you'll notice that the tail lamps are designed similar to the headlamps at the front, all LED units, and you have this light bar running right here. Also, you have a high stop lamp. Now, though this car is so compact, it does have a small boot. Now, it's not very big. It does not store a lot of stuff, but you have this charging kit that MG supplies with the car, so you can just plug it to any wall charger and you can charge the car on the go or at your home as well. It does take up a couple of backpacks and that's it. But if you are only 2 people who are traveling, you can drop these seats down and you can open up more space, and you can actually travel with luggage if only 2 people are traveling. In terms of practicality as well, you do not have a lot of compartments, but you do have this big door which is very heavy. You do have a bottle holder here. You have a lot of cubby space to store more stuff. You do get cup holders which are here right in front of the AC vent, so your beverages can be cool while you are having them. And if you look at the dashboard, it's a nice clean looking dashboard, no glove box, but you have a storage space there to keep your phone and your wallets. The central console is very clean. You just have the rotary drive selector and the power window controls along with the manual handbrake. Also, if you look at the floorboard, it's very flat and you have space to move around, keep your feet, and there is no obstruction or no partition in between. So overall, it is a spacious front cabin is what I will say. In the rear, the space is a little compact, but you can still seat 2 adults very comfortably. The second point, and most of you would be wanting to know what the range is like, how many times did I charge the car? Now, firstly, let me tell you, I've driven the car for about 1500 kilometers over the last 3 months. So averaging 500 kilometers a month. It was not my daily driver, but whenever I used to be in the city, this was my primary car to move around within the city. And that's why the numbers are not as much. Now, since I live on the 3rd floor, I don't have a EV charger at my home. I had to charge this at a public charging station. And there is a pure energy charging station which is nearby. This uses a type 2 charger, not the CCS2. So finding that was a little challenging, but there was one close to my home, and that's where I used to charge this car. Now, firstly, the range. If you're driving in the eco mode, you will get anywhere around 200 to 210 very comfortably in the real world with the AC on. On the normal and the sports mode, you're going to get about 150 to 160. But the power in the eco mode is also sufficient to drive within the city. I have mostly used it in the normal mode because you get a good balance of performance and efficiency there. And I used to get about 170, 180 kilometers of range very easily. So overall, I charged the car about 7 times, and each time the battery would come down to 15%, 20%, and that's when I took the car for charging. And the charge would last me about 5 to 6 days very easily. So in total, to charge it from about 20% to 100% would cost me around 400 rupees. So to drive 1500 kilometers, I must have spent around 2700 or 2800 rupees is what I spent totally to charge the EV, and I've driven about 1500 kilometers of that sort. So about 1 rupee and some pesos. So like it's less than 2 rupees, but it's greater than 1.5 rupees per kilometer. And that's what the running cost of this EV is. Now this is specifically at a public charging station, but if you charge it at home, it's going to be much more, less than that, maybe closer to 1 rupee or even less than that to charge this EV. So that was the range and the efficiency of this car and how much you would spend charging up. And comparatively, if I was driving a petrol car for the same amount of duration, the same amount of kilometers, I would have ended up spending somewhere between 11 to 12,000 rupees. So that is a big difference. Similarly, for CNG, that would come down to about 8,000 rupees. So again, the electric car will still save you a lot of money. Now let's talk about performance. The motor on the MG Comet EV puts out 41 bhp of power and about 110 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot for this size of a car, even with 4 people on board. Now, people kept asking me if this car can go on the ghats very easily, would it be able to climb steep roads or not, and I've tried everything. It is very capable of climbing the ghats in the normal mode. On the eco mode, it does struggle a wee bit, but on the normal mode and the sports mode, it will take any road in its stride very easily. Now obviously this car is not meant for the highway, even though we took it on the highway runs also. It runs stably, you can drive it around 80-85 kmph. It does those speeds very comfortably, not an issue at all. But yes, it's a light car. If you go above that, you're going to feel a little unsettled, and you're going to feel, that the car is moving a lot. And if a speeding car passes by, you're going to feel the vibrations inside the cabin. Other than that, there are no issues. Now, in the city is where this car really shines, be it traffic or be it finding a parking spot. This car is just awesome. I mean, the car is going to leave a fleet in a few days, and I'm really sad because this is the car that I prefer to go into the city, especially in the Mumbai city, and wherever there are parking problems, you're not able to find a parking spot. This car would fit in any small spot very easily. It's very easy to maneuver the car within traffic. You can make quick overtakes also, and it is a very simple car to drive because you can look at all the 4 corners of the car very easily. You have big windows, a big glass area, you have a good overall visibility, and you exactly know where the wheels of the car are. And because the wheels are right here under the feet, and you can see all the corners of the car, so you exactly know where the car is positioned, and you can maneuver the car very easily. So for new drivers, for people who are not very confident of driving, this car is very easy to drive. It's very light, very easy to handle. The steering wheel is also nice and small. Very easy to make those U-turns, makes those short 3-point turns. You don't need 3-point turns on most occasions, but even if you do, it's very easy to operate. The rotary dial also for the drive selector is easy to operate. It has nice clicks, and like it gets this instant response, which is really nice. You can change the driving modes right from here. So by default it starts in normal, but you can go switch to eco and sports with this button. And these two screens also provide a lot of information. So this driver information display has everything that you need. It has a range, your odo, your battery state of charge, the mode that you're in. It also shows you the power consumption. So when you're doing a region, you're braking, it will show you how much region you're getting back into the battery. Also, the infotainment screen, it's nice, gives you a lot of information. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and it connects wirelessly. So for this size of a car, you get wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and all the features that you need are available here. So you don't really need anything else. The car also gets a decent reversing camera. You have a good view with dynamic guidelines, and you can actually see a lot. And even in dark, it is pretty visible. You have good visibility, and parking with this is really easy. Of course, this does not have a wireless charging port, but it does come with a USB port right here. And if you're wondering what this is a hook, so you can hang in your groceries here. And as you can see, since there is so much space, I can move my feet around here and sit very comfortably. So overall, driving this car, the driving experience over this last few months has been really good. And honestly, I'm really going to miss this car when it goes out of the fleet. Also, the car is quite comfortable. The seats, the cushioning is not very, it's not dense, but it is comfortable. It's not dense to keep the car light so that you have better efficiency, but still it has a good amount of cushioning. Now, for someone who's wide like me, obviously my frame kind of comes out of the seat, but it's okay for smaller people. And even in my duration of using the car, I did not find it uncomfortable. The air conditioning is on point. I mean, it cools us down in the hottest of temperature. Like 5 minutes you keep the AC on and it will cool the cabin, because the cabin is so small, it cools up very quickly. It is a powerful AC, and of course it does take up a little bit of your range if you are using at higher powers. But if you use it at setting 2 or setting 3, and with the fan speed set of 3 or 4, you are absolutely fine. Also, the light colors of the upholstery makes you feel that the cabin is nice and roomy. It's not dark and dingy inside the cabin, and you don't feel that you don't have a lot of space. Overall, a very good experience. Now, coming to the fourth point, the price and the value for money proposition. Obviously, it's priced at 6.99 lakhs. That's the starting price, goes all the way up to 9.11 lakh at showroom. And for this size of a car, most of you would say that is a very huge price and it's a very expensive car. But if you look at it from a different perspective, wherein you're getting a city-friendly car and it's giving you a good amount of range, it's giving you a lot of efficiency, and it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Besides that, it has a lot of convenience features in it. The size itself is a big plus in congested cities like Delhi and Mumbai. And if you want something that is going to be driver friendly, it's going to be easy for you to go shopping, your groceries, or going to the market, or your daily commute to the office, dropping your kids off to school, this is a very practical car to do that. Also, with government norms in cities like Delhi coming in, wherein they're pushing more for electric vehicles, greener vehicles, this does check all those boxes. So if this is going to be your second car, you already have a petrol or a diesel car which will handle your long distance journeys. You can't do long distances with this. Or trip like a Mumbai to Lonavala trip is the most that you can pull off with this car. And also charging it on the way can be a little bit of inconvenience, because even with the fast charging option, it's not as fast as the DC chargers, because the fast charging option is not a DC charging option. So it's not going to be as quick. So doing long distances or doing a road trip with this is not advisable. Yeah, short distances like a 70-80 kilometer trip one way and you come back, it's going to be very easy for this car to handle. And that's the value that this car brings, it's going to save you a lot of cost on fuel, especially if you have a petrol or a diesel car. Even with a CNG car, you're still going to save a lot of money. Now that also brings me to the fifth point that this car has. Now, continuing the value for money proposition, MG has introduced something called BaaS, or battery as a service, with the MG Windsor. A couple of weeks after they introduced that, they also extended it to the MG Comet and the MG ZS EV. Now for the Comet specifically, it reduces the cost starting price point by 2 lakhs, and eventually for subsequent variants, the price is cut down by about 2 lakhs. So I'm assuming that's the cost of the battery, about 2 lakhs. And now the car starts at 4.99 lakhs with battery as a service. Now, in that, what happens is basically you rent out the battery and you pay a specific amount every month. MG claims it's 2.5 rupees per kilometer that you drive, but I went to a nearby dealership to understand what the pricing structure is. So when they explained to me in a way that, you know, the 4.99 lakhs, so let's say you're buying the base variant, 4.99 lakhs is going to be the price of the car. On top of that, you'll have to pay for insurance, you'll have to pay for the registration. You can either pay that amount fully or you can finance it. Now, there are two things that happen here. Firstly, when you pay for it upfront, so like you'll be paying around 5.5 lakh rupees upfront, and the rest of the money, that is the 2 lakh rupees, you will pay as an EMI to the financier who finances your battery pack. So the battery pack is financed by a third party, like a financial institution like Bajaj Finserv, HDFC, or you have Hero Finance. There are few options that you can choose from, and you will pay an EMI for the battery. It comes out to around 2.5 thousand rupees per month. So like that's lesser than what you would pay for fuel every month if you're using the car extensively. In that case, the company that is financing the battery will also finance the car. So the interest rate might be slightly higher. So instead of getting a 10.3 or 10.5 interest rate, you will have to pay like an 11.5 or a 12% interest rate. So the whole combo is then financed. So like you will pay in a certain EMI for the car and a certain EMI for the battery, and that is clubbed, and you pay one EMI amount for both the things together. So that is also an option. But on the plus side, you have 8 years of warranty. You get a 60% buyback guarantee for 3 years. And if anything has to go wrong with the battery, it will be replaced. So you have that peace of mind. And overall, the maintenance cost for the car is very negligible. Every time you take it for service, it's going to be around 800-900 rupees, and that's it. So those were my thoughts of my time with the MG Comet. I mean, honestly, I have had a lot of fun with this car, and I'm really sad that it will be going off our fleet in a few days, and I'm going to rely on some other vehicles as my daily driver. But I'm going to really miss this one. And that actually goes to say how convenient and how reliable the MG Comet has been for the last 3 months for me. And even if you are someone who's in the market for an electric vehicle, especially if you want a second car in the family, I think this is a very good choice. It gives a lot of value. It has ample range. It has a lot of space, a lot of convenience, and it has all the features that you get in a car. So yes, a lot of positives because it is a really good car and does give a lot of value. So if you're buying an electric vehicle, if you're in the market for an electric vehicle, do check the MG Comet out. Do not give it a miss. Let us know what you think of the MG Comet. I hope I was able to answer a lot of your queries. And if you have any more questions, put them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Subscribe to Motoroids if you haven't already, and press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we upload such videos. This is Vipul signing off. I will see you in the next one. Until then, rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.